What's up, Barefoot Nation? This week we are editing the Tropical Garden Flying by the Seat of My Pants bed because it just didn't grow as planned. See what I did there? Let's go! Alright guys, so here's my plant palette. So basically what I have are some discount begonias and coleus. The coleus, this is funny, I actually bought because I think I can blend them in with some of the weeds that are growing and therefore maybe make the weeds look a little worse, or it'll just make coleus look like weeds. Let me know down in the comments. So anyway, I have 7 packs of impatiens, but of course it looks like a full flat at this point because it's July. As I said, some dragon wing begonias, also some white dragon wings, like those are kind of cool. It kind of is a little Christmassy, so I'm going to be mixing in the yellow from the shrimp plant in with all of this. But basically all of these plants, as you can kind of see, are going to be going in this area. And so this was the subject of a video like a couple months ago, or slash springtime, you know, when you're supposed to plant annuals. But as you can see, it really didn't work out all that well. Yeah, I mean, like, so the clover is still kind of doing its thing. I planted these agapanthus, which I didn't think was a big enough project to film because I was just planting 3 perennials. But so these 3 Aggies got planted in like a week ago, and they're kind of like, they're doing really well, gorgeous. Couldn't tell you what cultivar. They were just sold to me as Agapanthus hardy species, which yay for labeling and record keeping. Anyway, so basically I think what I'm going to be doing here, I'm not going to be tearing anything out, especially the cannas, because there's a good chance that the cannas are just being slow and that they're actually going to end up putting on a little bit of size. Probably what I should do is take these seed heads off right here on the South Pacific Scarlet, because that's just sapping energy from the plant, producing bigger fronds. The coleus is probably going to be just a filler. So like in this area here, I've also got, but I really like how all these colors kind of play into each other, and I don't like having too much flowery stuff going on in a garden. I like to have some green space, some restful, some space for your eye to rest, basically. But so I think the coleus are going to fill in this area here that the Kelly Ray potato vine was supposed to fill in, but didn't. Yeah, this fern here, before I planted it, it's kind of like a mystery fern, but before I planted it, it got, the tiki torch was leaking oil for some reason, so yeah, I think that's dead, unfortunately. So, but again, not going to tear it out just in case it's just dormant. So I think this whole area here, I'm just going to fill with coleus. The other thing I could do, which I don't have, but I could get a macho fern and plant that there so that the whole kind of idea with the ferns is still a thing. But then again, that just wound up being an awkward diagonal line, so maybe it's good to change the plan a little bit. I could also definitely use some coleus right here near this little baby Bracken's Brown Beauty magnolia. Again, just to fill the space and do all that. The Heart of the Jungle colocasia is doing only okay. So the Heart of the Jungle taro is doing only okay, and the Washingtonia robusta is getting choked out by the cleome right here. So basically, the other thing I could do now that I think about that is these dragon wing begonias like a little bit more shade. So I could actually plant the begonias near the bananas to fill in that space. And it'll be a nice textural contrast with those mystery ferns. So, alright guys, what I'm going to do now is cut back to... Oh, one thing I forgot too is this is a Canaglocca panache, which I was going to plant in another area of the garden, but I decided that it's going to get planted right there with these other cannas. All right, guys, so I got 4 out of the 5 shrimp plants planted, and I'm thinking that originally I was gonna plant the one right over here. So originally I was gonna plant the 5th one right there near the cleome, but I have another plan for this area that I'm not gonna divulge, that I'm not gonna share just yet. But I'm not quite gonna show you guys what I'm planning for this somewhat blank space near that cleome just yet. So what I'm thinking is that, especially because if you kind of just think of the, you know, this as the front of the bed, the yellow of the shrimp plant really needs to be the 5th one right there. I'm kind of planting them about like 2.5, 3 feet on center. Not because they need to be spaced that far, but just because that's filling the space. I'm sure you could space them closer if you needed to, and you're in a, you know, and you're in a colder zone where they're not going to be perennial or a shrub for you. I love personally the primary color scheme. So I love the red with the blue with the yellow. To me, that just speaks to me. And then I'm going to shoot all that in the foot with all these impatiens, basically because they are not going to be there unless I didn't use anything else there except maybe the dragon wing begonias and coleus. I don't know, we'll see. But then again too, it's not really the purple coleus, the purple cleome are not really in that scheme anyway, but they also don't necessarily mess it up too much either. So I don't know. Anyway, let's get that 5th shrimp plant planted. So the 5th shrimp plant is gonna go right here in this open patch of soil. This is a trenching shovel, by the way. I find it a little more practical than a trowel, but I have to just be careful. This is a Eucalyptus neglecta that came back from winter, died back completely to the ground. So I'm gonna try to respect it in case it wants to show the heck up and frickin' do something. Again, I don't really rip plants out. Even if they're dead, I just usually cut them down and let that necromass in the soil, all the nutrients inside. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. I'll tell you, I don't need these because I really love, like I said, the primary colors. All 5 shrimp plants are planted. Again, not at even spacing intervals, but just to kind of fill the space laterally this way. And I think it looks gorgeous. I really think that less is more in some cases. So the only thing that I am going to plant is this Canaglocca panache. And that's probably going to be the last change in color that I'm going to do. Again, just because I think that it doesn't need any more color. I mean, it's really, really nice, if I do say so. Okay, so somehow I planted these coleus in a straight-ish line, and so, I mean, that's fine. I have kind of a contemporary flair to the garden, but I don't really know how that happened. By the way, I also planted keep using the shovel to point today. I have a assorted canna variety that I bought as a rhizome, so you'll get to see that hopefully in September be in flower. It actually just sprouted really late. Hopefully it doesn't have virus, because it's always sketchy to buy canna bulbs from to buy cannas as dormant bulbs, but this was from a small scale grower, so chances are better that it doesn't have any disease issues. I figured also, while we're over here in this area talking about plants, as I do, while I'm over here, check this elephant ear out, guys. So I bought a bulb of Black Magic, which looks like this, right? With the kind of matte black leaves. But the big shoot here is clearly not. So like, I don't know if it's a mutation or what's going on there. It almost looks like black coral or like one of those gecko varieties that I just got like a freebie. So I don't know, pretty interesting. It's got almost does have like the blue veins to it, but I'm not gonna plant the fourth coleus right here because I want this to keep growing and being the focal point and getting halfway decent sun. So I'm actually going to take this fourth coleus plant here and drop it in this kind of weedy area. It looks weedy to most because it is. There's definitely grasses, turf grass in particular, that shouldn't be there. But if you look carefully, so there's different persicaria, there's Verbena bonariensis right there, and there's even pepper plants. I was eating a pepper back in April, and milkweed too. So a ton of milkweed seeds and pansies and violas. And then of course the purple guy here, this is that Verbena bonariensis in flower. So it looks weedy, and again it is, mostly because of the grass. But I'm gonna stick this little coleus in this pocket of lushness, shall I say, right here. I mean, you know, it just starts to look good when you're just staring at it. So anyway, the begonias are still not planted, and the impatiens are just not going in here. They were originally gonna go in the frontage here, but I think if I want it to look wild, this is mostly like Creeping Charlie, and then there's some Virginia Creeper, which is the 5-petaled thing. These are cottonwoods, and those don't need to be here. They're just mulch now. But if I want it to look wild, I think I need to leave a border of weeds or so, you know, whatever, volunteer plants. I just love how this ginger is a perfect ball. It does need to have more shade on it though. You can tell this is turning a bit into a garden tour, but I'm gonna take a quick detour and show this. So you can see here that where it gets shade from the alocasia, as small as this Borneo giant, Borneo pathetic is a little bit darker of a green, and it's definitely brighter, kind of adapting to the sun right here. So they definitely do need shade. However, they can tolerate a surprising amount of sun. These are the Zingiber myoga, and that plant I've had since 2019 out of a little 3-inch cup from none other than Plant Delight's nursery. And so then this is kind of the other angle that is just absolutely glorious. You still have the blue of the agapanthus. It still looks wild. Now the backdrop is the magnolia. The other thing that's really cool as I was planting the panache canna is right here. This autumn brilliance fern has been the same, you know, spring new growth color for quite a while now, which is interesting, which is probably a result of it growing in pretty dang close to full sun. So now it's not, the canna's shading it. And so what I'm gonna do with the begonias is I'm just gonna set them, the tray is just kind of setting there, and I'm just gonna see how they react to that amount of sun, because it is quite a bit. But again, I don't think that I want to draw my eye to that corner, just because it's, I don't want to. I think if your eye stayed right here in the center via the color, so all the flowers is where your eye goes, that would be ideal. So yeah, I don't think those begonias are going to go in there. That was literally 8 new plants. So the 3 coleus, the 5 shrimp plants, and then my Canna glauca panache, which transformed a space. How cool is that? All right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed the video, or at the very least it was entertaining. Let me know down in the comments, what do you guys have success with or not? And have you ever seen the cannas that only grow like a foot tall? I'm not all about them. Like, they're staying in the ground. Anyway, if you want to see more content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell. There's tons of good stuff coming down the pike. And pike? I don't know. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. And if you like it, be sure to drop it a big ol' one of these. If you don't mind, please and thank you. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.